Welcome back to j.p.sportstalk, episode number 19. That's right, we're back. We know it's been a while, like while.
We took the holidays off, kind of,
Yeah, quick
but we're
hiatus.
back.
Are back. We have an idea of doing this thing. It's like a consistency thing where we're banging out episodes every day or every
Every
two
day,
days.
our
Hopefully
best.
for January.
Yeah,
But
we left you guys hanging after the
yeah,
last video we did was actually on the Giannis extension. We got a lot to talk about, so we have videos for all four sports coming out today, tomorrow, and then the two next days, whenever that
yeah.
is. So, you'll see that. It's gonna be great.
Alrighty.
But
Yep.
today
So let's get
specifically,
right into the MLB news.
yep.
Alrighty. We'll ease in here with just a
Unfortunately, cut out Patrick. Great start to get back here. Um, but one thing right now, today's day is going to be a lot of Padres talk. They had two blockbuster trades, and they're also looking to extend Tatis right now. Tatis obviously was an MVP candidate for a majority of the year. Lost his stroke a little bit for a week or two, but he got back. He was unbelievable this year. Patrick, what do you think about this extension talk?
Yeah, so this is in my opinion, I mean, this definitely is one of like you needed to do this. You need to extend your great players. And hopefully I think that Tatis wants to stay in San Diego, especially with the new additions they made.
Yeah.
Um because they're a in my opinion, okay, well they're definitely playoff caliber, but I'm thinking World Series
Oh,
like
for sure.
contender,
For
especially
sure.
after a trade that we're gonna uh,
We'll
guard
get to.
or
Yeah.
go on later. But huge move for him, even though he kind of struggled throughout the stretch of the final stretch of the season. He
Mm.
was an MVP candidate the first like I don't know like or the first like 2/3 of the season. So,
Hmm.
um, yeah, like
Yeah,
a great
this
trade.
is
I mean, yeah, this is what they needed to do.
this is so key for the Padres. He might be your best player right now. But when you think about that team, they don't really have holes, and we'll get into that later. But right now, while we're still on the topic of the Padres, two huge trades in the span of I think 24 hours.
Yeah,
Um, First one was they were traded for Blake Snell, former MVP, not MVP, sorry, Cy Young, former Cy Young. Um, and I'd also like to talk about the Rays here too, but the Padres making a trade for Blake Snell. It's huge for them. It's a big lefty arm, a great lefty arm. And I think it's. I didn't expect to see Snell traded after the Rays not won, but they made it to the World Series.
yeah,
You would think that they were going to be contending, but now after I see this, it confuses me because it makes me think the Rays are not a win now team anymore, even though they made it to the World Series, so they should be. But what are your thoughts on this?
yeah. So, uh, huge move for the Padres.
Mm-hmm.
They're definitely their focus was, in my opinion, I think Manny Machado or Fernando Tatis went to the front office and said, "Look, if you don't get a pitcher on this team, we're going because
Mm-hmm.
um, it takes a lot. I mean, it takes a lot out of the hitters and the field positions to have to score like 5 runs a game just to win.
Yep.
Um, and huge trade for. I mean, the Rays. It was kind of interesting. You'd think that they'd want to keep their team intact because they just went to the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
However, they didn't. Like they just traded their ace.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
If you have
Blake
any
Snell though he is 28, I believe, or he's going into his 28th season. So for the Rays, I can also see the Rays taking a year or two off, kind of getting it together, and coming back really strong in like 2022 or 2023. Because right now, I don't think Blake Snell fits the timeline. Although they were a win now team this year. You think about it, Tyler Glasnow will be their ace now, and he's an ace kind of pitcher. They had two aces in that rotation, and so you have Tyler Glasnow as your ace now. And then you've got like Randy Arozarena, who is super young, and he's going to be your guy for the future. You've got a pretty young team. You got Brandon Lau. He's young. G-Man Choi is not necessarily young, but I feel like he's a guy who can play into his early to mid 30s and still be successful and
be
still
consistent. Yeah.
consistent, still be a good player. I mean, G-Man Choi, while we're on the topic of it, he's a big dude, but he is a freak athlete. I mean, I don't know if you really know about it, but he, like, in the World Series, he will jump up at first base, make a play. He can do a full split. Like, he's really, really good athlete. I wish he would have played that well when he was on the Yankees, but I mean, he's bounced from team to team, and I think he finally found a home in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, so you made a remark on the like not rebuild, but like reshift their focus, get like euthanize almost, and then come back. But they're not gonna have those. They're not gonna have the contracts that they do right now forever. Like they're gonna have to pay people, and they're not gonna have like the ragtag players. So the only way I see them winning a World Series in the next couple years are if they get like a big player, or if they they have to like sign a big player, or just have like a strong roster with no weakness throughout, where they can take you yard or they can get a hit at every position of the like every lineup or every batter in the lineup.
I think something the Rays organization needs to consider is because they have, from what I've heard of people who have been there, who've been to a lot of the stadiums in the MLB, they have one of the worst stadiums in baseball. Yeah. And when you think about it, the better you are, the better your stadium is, the more fans you're going to bring in, and that's more money, and then that's higher payroll, which is like baseball is really about payroll right now. You see the teams like the Dodgers have one of the highest payrolls in baseball because they live there in Los Angeles, a top tier city in terms of money making. So, but then you see a team like the Rays, who are in Tampa Bay, it's a well-known city, but it doesn't compare to New York City. It doesn't compare to Los Angeles. It doesn't compare to, I don't know, places like Texas or anything like that. So,
and their stadium doesn't compare to the likes of Wrigley Field or Fenway, the historic.
Yeah, so especially like historic stadiums, well-known stadiums. So if you're a Rays organization, Rays management, you might want to consider rebuilding, getting a bigger, better stadium, and you're a good team. So you'll draw in fans, you'll draw in people, and you'll get more money.
Yeah, I could see a huge opening day crowd for the runner-up in the World Series new stadium. That would be crazy. As hoping they let full capacity start of baseball season.
Yep.
But next thing I want to move on is kind of like I just want to show you guys something. I got these cool sunglasses. They're not much, but they are more than what the Cubs got for Yu Darvish. So yeah.
Oh boy. Well, we're on it now.
Yeah. Well, I'm a Cubs fan, if you guys don't know. And this one hurt. Yu Darvish, Cy Young candidate, just got traded to the San Diego Padres. This is why they are a World Series contender. They just got in my opinion, two of the top,
oh, for sure.
Just top tier, like top 10, top 15 pitchers in the MLB. The ace of the runner-up in the World Series and a Cy Young contender. I don't know what's happening with the Cubs, but for the Padres, great trade.
Padres are going crazy right now. The Cubs are out of their minds crazy because, you got Zach Davies, who's a really, really quality pitcher, but you didn't get anything else. You got a few prospects, but for Yu Darvish, I know he is 33 years old now, but once again, we've said it in the past, baseball is one of the sports where age matters the least. So
it takes the least physical toll.
Like in the NBA and NFL, I guess. College football age isn't really a thing, but in the NFL and NBA, people get to their 30s and they fall off a cliff like that. And it happens in the MLB, but you see guys all the time, like DJ LeMay, who's 32 right now or something like that, and he is still firing.
A lot of interest from both Dodgers and Yankees. We'll cover that.
While we're on it.
But for the Cubs, I wonder if this is going to be. I think what they're hoping right now is that their front offense is hoping another one of those, in my mind, another one of those montages where the 2016 World Series, how they got there. They traded for this prospect. They drafted this one, even though they traded away this good player. They got this, just piecing it together. And I will say, if you want one of those montages on YouTube, it's really cool to see how
There's
they get.
there's a bunch of them. I've watched a few as well myself.
Yeah. Hopefully that's happening, especially because I'm, Northside fan. But
And in case you
yeah,
guys didn't know, we're both from the suburbs of Chicago, like around there.
yeah,
So, although I'm a Yankees fan, I'm a Cubs fan second, so I care about this too. They got absolutely ripped garbage. I mean, I'm mad too.
yeah. So, hopefully it's like a picture perfect like puzzle with trading away one player like you, Darvish, and
Yeah.
getting back prospects that pan out. But I don't see why they do this right now. I guess they're not really in a win now state, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, it looks like the Cubs are finally gonna hit that rebuild stage, and Baez, Contreras, Rizzo, Bryant, they're all coming up soon. Um, the core is gonna be gone, unfortunately, for me, you, and Cubs fans around the world. But it was fun while
Yeah,
it lasted. I wish we could have seen the core in its prime like it is now. Like Baez was not nearly as good as he was now back in 2016. Contreras wasn't nearly as good as he is now back in 2016. But um, they've hit their rebuild stage. But
yeah.
the last time you hit a hard rebuild, even though it's been 108 years, it was only 4 years ago you won the World Series. So I mean, we know. Oh well, I forgot Theo Epstein's gone, which is
Yeah,
unfortunate because you
one
know
of the
how well
best,
he built that
one of the best
2016 team.
GMs in
Yeah,
MLB history.
but
Um,
hopefully you can get a guy similar to that and rebuild that
yeah,
team back to a winning state.
just a bit more on the Cubs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that from like really from 18 to now, we've kind of just been hanging on a thread, like hanging on the thread of the players that were in the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
and I mean, their time has come. They're gone.
yeah,
They'll definitely start hitting a rebuild. But I say we move on to DJ LeMahieu getting interest from both the Dodgers and the Yankees.
yeah.
Check.
I don't see. I mean, obviously, there's a bunch of teams who, obviously cannot afford LeMahieu because he's gonna want a bag. He's gonna get his bag after the way he's played the past 2 years.
Yeah.
But you've got the top two teams in terms of ability to sign players right now because they just the money situation for the Dodgers and Yankees is unbelievable. Like money situations in terms of football and basketball compared to compared to baseball is also kind of insane because you got teams like the Rays, who Mookie Betts is making more money per year than that entire team. So
Yeah.
just about, I don't know, it might not be, but there's so many different teams, and then you got teams like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the NFL and NBA. Well, obviously there's problems in every sport, but it's just kind of like there's so many differences in sports, and MLB is just such a unique sport in terms of not only its game but like management and so
I think you're right. Like, there's not really the big thing. I mean, like in terms of like the actual game, there's no like clock. So just the game is it just runs differently. And then, like you said, like the Rays, one of the lowest payrolls in the entire MLB.
Yep.
The best NFL teams and NBA teams, they're almost maxed out. All I'm saying is like the Lakers have 2 max contracts and the Rays like they don't.
Yeah.
So
Like that Warriors team they had.
yeah.
I mean, there's the thing is like there's just so many people are willing to go over that luxury tax because it makes their team good. Like I remember when we first saw that, must have been 2017 when they signed Kevin Durant. They also signed Boogie Cousins at that point, who was like, he was just a few years back from Kings.
Yeah.
DeMarcus Cousins, who is an absolute dog. So we thought they were gonna have Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, an all-star at that point, and that would be like 5 all-star starting 5. We thought that was going to be insane, but Cousins didn't exactly do as well as he thought he would.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's in Houston, I believe, and he was with the Lakers. He's been a few different places.
But I mean, back on track, I guess is like,
sorry,
that's totally fine. But like the Warriors, they couldn't sign even a decent free agent, that free agency coming up. But the Rays, they could go all out and get a superstar if they really wanted to. But
it's
they
so
want
interesting.
back apparently.
Before we wrap things up, we should kind of just talk about how there has been rarely any news so far. We've got pretty much every free agent still on the board that really matters. Bauer, Springer, LeMahieu, Ozuna, Sugano, who's from like the overseas in Japan.
Yeah.
Muto, Marcus Semien, Nelson Cruz, William Hendricks, Didi Gregorius, Tanaka, Paxton. None of them have signed yet, so it's gonna be a long off season because it's gonna be even longer because they're gonna delay the start of the season. So it's very interesting. If you guys want to see us like predict the free agents, that would be kind of fun. So let us know. It might take a while because we have to do some real research here, but
yeah, and that means along with a longer off season, that means episodes that are just further apart because nothing's gonna happen. Like we don't know now in the next 2 weeks if like maybe 2 free agents are gonna sign, if even. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. But hopefully you liked this episode. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, like button always helps out.
Yeah, we know you guys are wanting the MLB videos a lot, but it's just there's nothing happening. There's nothing happening besides those 2 big trades the Padres said. There's nothing. So that's why we can't get it out. We want to, but it's hard.
If you exclude San Diego, this offseason has been horrible.
Yeah, so far.
But
it'll be fun though because we might get like 7 big guys in the span of 2 weeks. So
yeah, we'll see. Hopefully we do. Hopefully you enjoyed, and hopefully you'll check out After the Whistle. He's still going on with that podcast. He's still going on with that podcast.
Show him love, man. Show him love. Yeah. If you don't know at this point, he Owen Tomko, he runs it. He came on our channel. That was a super fun episode we had. So go check him out. Watch our video with him first, but then go check him out. And we out.
Yep.
Shout out to Alec Mills.